Hi guys, Mr. P How Do We with another video today on one of my favourite Chrome extensions, and that is Mote. So in this video I'm going to share 5 quick and simple ideas of how I've incorporated Mote as part of my lessons. It's not just about the feedback with Mote, there's so much more to it. So if you want to hear some more ideas, come and have a look at this short video. Okay guys, so I've come up with, and I've been using Mote now as part of my lessons for teaching as well. Okay, and I've come up with 5 simple ideas of how that can be used in your lessons. So the first one we're going to look at is using it as a help button. So I started using this help button as a success criteria check-in for the lessons. So for all the steps that you've built up throughout your teaching points and everything you want the children to remember, if they forget them when they're working through their presentations or their slides, they can simply hit on the help button, hit the play,
okay, the number on the number line.
And then they'll get their success criteria read out to them to trigger some of those things in their mind of what they needed to do throughout their step-by-step process. Basically, it's their success criteria, and it's a great way of reminding the children as they go along. So that is number 1. Number 2, another way I thought of it was if you've got children who are reading text and finding words perhaps that are maybe difficult for them or they're not quite sure, well, I've told my children that I will highlight these now, and if we click on the words that have been highlighted, there's a little link there to a voice note that I've left them, and that voice note will then tell them the definition of that word.
An institution is an organisation founded for a religion.
So a great way to think about vocabulary and to support those children who might find understanding of some of those words a little bit more difficult. So that's step 2, using Mote as a way of giving a better and greater understanding of vocabulary and their definitions. For number 3, I've used it as part of a task. So in this task we were looking at non-fiction text, and they had to generate the definitions for the words in the glossary. So what I did was I read out a definition for each of the words on the right hand side, and what they had to do was listen to the voice note,
a count of the number of people living in one,
and then drop it onto the voice note section of the table, and then they could type in the definition then on the right hand side. So in terms of, again, vocabulary building, and a big shout out to Barry who suggested that perhaps you could use this in languages as well. So you could do matching of English vocabulary, Welsh vocabulary, French vocabulary, and get the two to match together. So you could do some matching games, something quite interactive there, just by using the voice notes. So that's number 3 in my ideas. Number 4. Everyone loves a little bit of motivation, and for the children right now learning from home, nothing is more important than getting them motivated and giving them that little bit of a drive as they go along. So as they complete certain sections of questions, I always stick a little click for motivation Mote on there so the children can listen to a bit of inspiration as they work through the texts.
Done for completing the novice questions. You are doing so well.
Again, it gives the children a little bit of a pick-me-up, and it helps them then by hearing your voice, moving them on to those more difficult questions, those more challenging areas of the learning. So personally for me, hearing your voice is so important. So why not use Mote for a little bit of motivation as the children work through. So the final use of Mote that I've done is to pop little questions to consider throughout the text. So if I'm asking them to complete a piece of work on their own, so for example we were looking at an investigation of friction, I would pop a Mote on there for some questions and some things for them to consider. Very short, they can listen to it.
The variables that we discussed in the lesson. Which variables do you...
So then they can think about the questions that you're pondering and the questions that you're asking them, just like you would in a normal classroom environment. So there are 5 simple tips on how you can use Mote in your lessons as well, not just for feedback. So for more tips and tricks on different tools, please check out my website.